Chefs, welcome back to another Private Chef Incubator Live coaching session. In this training, you're going to see a real cold approach role play in a Michelin style restaurant. A breakdown of why one of my student private chef lost a $600 a day deal and how to fix it. How to talk about pricing without turning off a client. And finally, the exact mindset plus emotional hook to land $100,000 in plus private chef client. This isn't theory. It is real world strategy role played live with my students. So you can see what works, what doesn't, and apply it right away. Starting at minute 11, let's dive in.
Hamza, we can go ahead and start. I play and you play. So just so you guys know a little bit of context, Hamza works in a Michelin sushi restaurant in Beverly Hills in Los Angeles. And he wants to leverage the clientele of this restaurant because the restaurant is an open place. So he has the opportunity to actually speak directly to people that potentially can be a really good client for his private chef business. So when he said to me yesterday on the call, he was like, okay, how can I actually start this conversation? How I can approach him? And I was like, okay, show up to the call tomorrow and we'll just role play. I'll play you, you play the client, and we'll just have a genuine conversation and see how we can go from, saying the first thing to just getting those people phone number, because that's the goal. Okay, when you go and do cold outreach, the only goal is not to sell your performance, not to sell your business, to sell your service. It is only to get a phone number. That's all we want to do. And then once we actually get a phone number, then we'll actually set what we can call in the sales space, like a strategy call, which is where we are going to actually sell something. If we find alignment with that person again. Make sense? Any questions? Are you all guys ready to go? Cool. Okay. All right. So ideally, we don't want this conversation to be more than like five minutes. Okay. In Hamza's case, I mean, people's are eating with family, or I don't know, like a date, or they're just having dinner, so they might not want to be disturbed for longer than this. If they know in a restaurant, they might be doing shopping, or they might be in a bakery, or they might be stopping to buy whatever, or at a golf course. So we never want to disturb a stranger for more than 5 minutes, even if we then provide value. Okay, that's pretty much it. What else? So the first thing, no more than 5 minutes. In my opinion, I've never done this, by the way. I mean, I've been doing sales the last 2 years, but in this context, I've never done it. But I don't use scripts. This is how I sell. You might, guys, need it, at least in the beginning, to have an idea of what you do and why you do it. And I might going to explain you what I'm doing. But technically, I would tell you to get off the script as soon as possible. Because if you sound scripted, people can feel it. And if people feel that you're scripted, then that means that you have an agenda. And people don't want you to have an agenda. So, Hamza, we go. Hey, Hamza, how are you doing?
Hello. No, I think it was just me.
Okay, cool. Hi, how you doing, dude?
So far, so good. Can't complain.
Amazing.
Can't complain at
Oh,
all.
how your night is going?
So far, so good. So having your face here is what keeps us going. So as long as you guys are enjoying yourselves, I can't complain, and we'll just be open for more.
Amazing. Let me ask you a question, Hamza.
Sure
because
thing.
I see you here enjoying the dinner. Is having this type of events of going out for a night and wanting to experience this type of food something you are actually like doing?
Actually, yeah, especially that our family is a little bit of a busy family, so we don't get that time to do that a lot. So when we have a baby, so whenever we get like a few hours, we just steal it to go and have a good experience of dining outside.
My bad. Did you just say you just had a baby?
Well, that's the thing. So are you acting as me or I'm acting as the customer?
Hey, you, the customer.
So yeah, so yes, I had a baby. I can't go out that much.
You just had a baby. Congratulations, dude. Is it a boy or girl?
Actually, have twin.
You had twin. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so let me ask you, when was the last time that you guys actually went out?
I would say like at least 6 months.
At least wow. How old are the twins, by the way?
Well, now there are 6 months. So since we had them, this is the first time we go out.
The first time that you went out. Okay. Okay, gotcha. And like before doing this though, I mean, how often do you guys enjoy going out?
Well, we would love and rather just stay home, especially with all the stress and tiredness of work, especially me and my wife. So I would say we would rather just have everything ready.
Okay. When you say especially you with stress and tiredness of work, what do you do, by the way?
Well, technically, I'm more of like a real estate agent, and my wife is a professor at uni, so we don't really have that much time.
Okay. How many hours a week do you work?
a lot. I'm a real estate agent, so I don't work by hours. Every week is different, but I need to be available all the time
You need to
in
be
case something showed up. In case of something showed up, something that I need to get done.
okay. So when you say like you get a lot of stress, in what way do you feel like stress is actually materializing because of work?
It materializes because I have to think about the household and the job at the same time.
Okay. When you say you have to think about the household, I mean, for example, at home, who's cooking?
With cooking, groceries, what the kids are eating, are they going to be eating healthy? If the wife goes back to work at uni, are they going to be taken care of?
Okay. If you have to count really quick, like how many hours a week is that all combined? You
Oh,
having
cooking?
I mean, cooking, you having to do the grocery, cleaning, thinking about having to do this, having to eat, all combined.
It would take at least like an hour and a half of my life just to think about it, sort it out.
Okay. Did you say it would take at least
Without the cooking, at least
an
an hour and
hour
a
to
half
an
just to
hour and
sort things
a
out.
half without the cooking every single day?
Yes, yes.
Wow. So
Especially having newborn, not knowing what to eat, but don't, and being very new to the experience of having babies and being super busy as well.
okay. Hamza, we are cut out for a second. The connection starts to be a little bit hectic. I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys
sure.
start. Can you actually hear
I
Hamza
think
well?
so.
Is
You
it
know
just
what? And
wait, just a
let's.
second.
How about? Can I? Mhm.
Turn off your camera.
Sure.
You can unmute yourself. Usually with camera off, connection goes better.
Sure. Oh, sure.
Yeah, no, it's still really shitty. You're good, dude. You're good. I just want to ask other people, guys, could you hear perfectly, or or was it just me?
It was breaking up. Yeah, it was breaking up.
It was breaking up. Okay.
Oh, I see.
Anyone who actually could catch up and keep going on the conversation and replace Hamza so we can actually end the role play. By the way, just so you guys know, at this point, we're pretty good. We're like 5 minutes in. I create a report. You guys pretty open. We moved right away into the problem, which is what we want. We get the problem and we get the pain. Okay, what is the problem? Does anyone know what is the problem right now?
He's stressed out. He doesn't have enough time to, I don't know, treat themselves.
Yeah, the problem is that they don't have enough time to treat themselves because they just had a baby 6 months ago that is taking up a lot of their time. We definitely want to dig much more into this during the next call, but right now we've got enough. I'm stressed out. I'm tired. We only went out once in 6 months. This we want to dig into it in the next call. What was the impact of your relationship with your wife, like as a couple, not going out for the next 6 months, for the last 6 months? And then we'll dig into this. But now we've got enough about the current situation. We're like, okay, it's taking me 2 hours a day to actually, do the whole cooking thing. And then again, because it's a 5 minute conversation, we don't want anything else. I'll just transition into the solution, which is okay, cool. Like, have you tried to do anything to solve that yet? Yes, no, what? Okay, cool. Have you ever thought about hiring somebody to take charge of all of this? Yes, no, okay, cool. You know what? I know you're busy. You're having your date night. I am working. By the way, what I do is X, Y, and Z. I don't even know if I could actually help, but I really enjoyed our conversation right now. Would that be a terrible idea to just exchange phone numbers? Exchange phone numbers sounds a little bit less direct. That give me your phone number. What we want is them giving us their phone number, obviously. But would that be a terrible idea to exchange phone number and then within the next 24 to 72 hours, we can maybe set another meeting and have a really deeper conversation and see if there is anything that I can do to actually help you out, guys? Yes, no. We get the phone number. They have an amazing night. And then we could get more into like the details because there is a way, again, like to get phone number, to get the email, to book the meeting or the call on the go and move into the next phase. But does that make sense to anyone so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hamza, I feel like you're back, dude. I feel like the connection looks a little bit better.
Test.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3.
okay, let's go into it again. So we just end, and if anyone has any questions, we can go into it. By the way, before we even start again, did it feel like I was following a script?
It was more of a conversation.
It was a conversation. Did it feel like something how to do?
No.
It's if you genuinely want to help, it's not hard.
One thing I appreciated was every question. It sounded genuinely like you're interested in their life, but you were actually making assessments from every answer as to what you could provide.
What do you mean by assessments?
Well, finding out what they do. You're learning about what their hours are, what their lifestyle's like, how many kids, all that stuff. It's how you can tailor a package specifically for that client from all these answers.
And technically, this is what the next goal is about, to not just provide something that is made for everyone, but tailor to what they actually need to make them feel like it's tailored to them, and so charge even more than if it was just a general generic thing. Last question was, guys, did you feel like so far this guy will give me his phone number, even if he never talked to me before?
Yeah. If there's enough rapport built.
Can you say that again?
If there's enough rapport built between you guys, there's no reason why I wouldn't.
Okay, so do you feel like there was enough rapport?
We'll say so. To get the phone number, yeah.
Did it feel like I knew enough what I was talking about for this guy to want to have a longer conversation with me?
True.
Okay, cool. All right, let's keep going on where we were. The last question that I asked was, how many hours does it take in total? And you were like, it take me about an hour and a half to think about it without the cooking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in total with the cooking, how many hours a day is that?
That will with the cooking. Sometimes I cook, sometimes my wife cooks, but I would say that it takes at least another 2 hours, including like breakfast and lunch.
Okay, so we're talking about like 3 hours every single day. Just
Yes.
for you guys to feed yourself. It sounds like you guys are actually appreciating good food, right?
We definitely do appreciate food and definitely do appreciate our time as well. So
100%.
based on what I'm seeing over here and the quality of the food, and sometimes I just wish to myself, like, if I could eat like this every day without having to think about it, especially that you guys are doing omakase. Like, we don't even have to order from the menu. You just feed us. So I wish my life was like that, where you just sit somewhere and people just feed you instead of having to go through all the hassle.
Okay. Is it something over the last 6 months that you've actually considered even once?
Actually, never thought about it until I talk to you right now, and I'm getting ideas as I'm talking to you.
Okay, gotcha. Hamza, I mean, if you were to put yourself in this position where every single day you know that your wife, yourself, if you know the name of the wife, it's good, Sarah, yourself, and the twins can spend an extra 3 hours every single day between you guys of quality time. How life would be different? Not having to actually take care of those errands and the cooking.
Well, since I had a baby, all I think about is my kids now. So technically, I think my life would be much more full of love and care towards my kids instead of me having to worry about my job and my daily day-to-day life and day-to-day like errands with groceries, cooking, and all that stuff, and actually put some more time to my family.
Okay. So, guys, I'm making a timeout, then I'm going to transition. He gave me my life will be more full with love and care, so I could spend more time with my family. On the second call, you wouldn't want to go to the next phase just with this. You want to, especially for people that already have kids, you should want to do this also. I'm saying this because when you already experience something that people say, you might think that you already know, but you know in people's head. So you should never assume that you already know, which is harder when you think you already know, if that makes sense. I don't have kids yet. So what I will do, I'll just be like, dude, like, you'll have to teach me a little bit because I'm not a dad yet. When you say love and care, what do you mean by that more specifically? And that allows, again, to make that person feel extremely understood. But on top of this, to give you more data and more emotions of how they will actually feel. Because 80% of the time, people buy out of emotions, not out of logic. So we need to use that to get the sale across the line. But here, against the feminine discovery, so love and care, it's fine. It's written down in my notes that I will have paint out for the next goal, so I remember the whole conversation. And even if I don't have a script, I still know more or less where I'm going. And make sure, again, to make that person over the phone feel like I remember what they said and make them feel like I actually care. So we can go back into it. You gave me a little bit. So now I've got what? I've got context of the current situation. I know what is the problem, why the problem is a problem, for how long the problem has been a problem, and what life will actually look like once we actually solve the problem. So here, I just transition smoothly and be like, how does that look? I mean, you guys are having dinner right now. It's the first date in the last 6 months. I don't really want to take too much of your time anymore. I really enjoyed the conversation. To be completely transparent, I don't know if I can actually help you guys, but I'm a private chef. Maybe you didn't know that. Hamza, you played really, really friendly and really well. Like, not all conversations will go this way, guys. Like, you were really easy, to be honest. But I don't know if you knew, guys, but I'm a private chef and I could potentially help you. Now I have no idea, but what I'd like to do is to take maybe half an hour up to an hour with you guys for free, sit down, another call, and then we can really dig more into you guys' situation and see if there is anything that I can actually create, tailor to what you guys need, and see if there isn't any alignment. Would that be a terrible idea, Hamza? How do you feel?
As a matter of fact, I don't see that to be a terrible idea at all. Actually, I would before I leave, I'll leave my number to the manager of your restaurant, and she will definitely forward it to you. And please shoot me a text, and then we can make something work out. I really appreciate the fact that you're gonna give me half an hour for you of your time to actually deal with my issues and try to fix them and make something work out. And if it does, I would definitely appreciate that. If it doesn't work out, I'll definitely appreciate your time and actually putting aside an hour of your time for me, especially knowing that you're busy with restaurant work and everything. And yeah, for sure. Thank you very much, and we'll definitely make sure to enjoy this food.
Usually during the week, what is the time that work for you for like a 30-minute call? Is it more like morning, midday, evening time?
I would say evening time.
Evening time. Okay, so
Evening time, so 5 p.m. to
today we Monday. If we were to meet tomorrow Tuesday around like 7:30 p.m., would that work for you?
can we make it Friday?
Can we make it Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. I think we could. What is coming up for you between Tuesday and Friday? Just to see if I can make it maybe before to make it easier for you.
What's coming as a schedule?
Yeah.
Let's say just have some private family meetings and stuff like that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so we can definitely go for Friday 7 p.m. 7:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
What is your best email so I can also send you some meaningful resources for you to get a little bit better understanding of what you're doing.
Sure thing. I will definitely include it with my number, and I will leave it at the manager's desk.
Okay, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Well, have a great night. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, lovely.
So that's the second time that he mentioned about the manager. If he didn't mention that a second time, I will get his phone number. The reason why I asked him for the email right now is because, like he said, for the first time, I'll give my number to the manager, and I felt that a little bit weird. So I was like, okay, we're going to go around with the email first, and then he says that again. So I'll give the email to the manager. In that situation, this is exactly how we will play it. We have to remember that, like, we are in an open space. We didn't ask anything to start the conversation with that person. We don't want to create friction. On the second call, you create as much friction as you want. But like right now, the goal is to make that person fucking show up. So I wouldn't be like, oh, okay, but why not giving me your number right now versus the manager? It will sound way too fucking, silly. So this is where I will leave it.
Can I add a little note?
Go ahead.
So just FYI, the reason why I actually added the manager, I think it was just a subconscious thing, especially that at my job, like when I talk to customers like face to face, first of all, I can't touch their belongings. I don't have a pen, I don't have a paper, I don't have things like that. And the head chef is right next to me, so I got to keep it cool. So that's why when customers ask for my number, which I had happened before, especially when you mentioned the last call yesterday of do free dinners. So I did that with some of my customers before. And it did happen. That's why I told them, like, you can get my number from the restaurant's manager because she's very nice and we're kind of cool, we're kind of friends. So she actually, whenever a customer asks for my info, she would come after service once they're done eating and give them like a sheet of paper with my phone number and stuff like that. That's why I said that.
Do you have your phone with you when you work?
No phone, nothing.
Okay.
So technically, yeah, even a handshake, we don't do handshakes with customers since like we don't wear gloves and stuff, so we can't really touch people.
One thing, guys, what you mentioned to me here is because of how it is in my job, I felt like this, dude, like you need to understand something is like this is based on your own belief that might not be true. Those people that you talk to might be okay to give you their phone number. Get a dot.
They're okay. I'm talking about my boss, my head chef, my executive chef, not the customer. The customers are okay with giving me their number. It's like him being like, he wants to keep it high end.
If it's just a bonus, then you can tell the customer you can give your number to the customer and tell them while you're having the conversation to send you a message. While you're having a conversation with them. So it's not just you giving your phone number, as you giving your phone number for them to send you a message.
And one good thing
And the
everybody
message
can
could
do.
actually be, my bad, the message could actually be the email. Because in any case, we actually want the email. Jason, just 1 second, I finish with this.
Yeah.
And the reason why I propose, so you guys, again, when we do actually this, like especially cold approach, we want to make sure that the meeting is like within the next 24 to 48 hours. 48 is like the latest. The latest is going to be the lower the show rate from the person, which is the reason why I instantly told you tomorrow night. And then you were like Friday, and I didn't sit with Friday. I was like, yeah, sure. By the way, what is coming up for you between tomorrow and Friday that makes you want to do that? Just to see if there is, and you were like, yeah, I'm booked with family meeting, right? So maybe a mistake that I made also is to ask you what is a good time for you. Maybe we could just go, okay, are you available tomorrow 2 p.m.? Yes, no, okay. Tomorrow 5 p.m. Yes, no, okay. The next day 2 p.m. Instead of going like nights and then I go fuck and then you told me Friday. But ideally we don't want to have like a 3, 4, 5 days time between the next meeting. Okay? Okay, Jason, go ahead, dude.
As I mentioned, I know he said that he normally doesn't have a pen and paper. One thing I've got generic business cards. It's got my name and phone number on it with a culinary type logo that I keep with me that I can give to people because I don't always have pen and paper with me, and the other person may not either.
I think what he mentioned is that even if he had business cards, because of the rule
Okay.
in the restaurant that he works, it's not really a thing. You cannot really just exchange.
It's correct. I have a question though.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this might not work for everybody here. So maybe the what I'm gonna say might not be the case for everybody else. But I have a question. Let's say, for example, I found or I talked to somebody that seemed interested in what I have thought, and even without asking them, because I was getting to the point that I do have access to all the customers that come, all their phone numbers, emails, allergies, and why they came for dinner before even they come to dinner. So all those information I already have. So do you think it might be okay if I notice that a customer is the kind of customer that might like my job or what I offer, or he saw me, he liked how I work, what I do, can I just go ahead without even asking them, get their email and send them an email explaining the situation and see what they think about it?
No, you absolutely don't want to do this, bro. This is actually stealing assets from another company. Like you can be sued for that.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it might not be a thing for the customer itself. I mean, you still.
But I'm part of the company though.
Their information, so the customer could even be kind of like, dude, when did you get my phone number? Blah blah blah. So they could actually act rude, but it's more the company. The company could usually sue you for that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah,
Good to know. Even though I could be like part of the company.
Yeah, I mean, even what you're doing right now, which is talking to customers to get them out of the business that you're working to get you into your business, like this is not good. But we spoke about it yesterday, and you mentioned to me about the situation. But yeah, the email fun thing, dude. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't unless like this.
Understandable.
Yeah, if they did something really bad to you, I'll be like, just go ahead and fucking do your thing. But other than that, I'll just the approach that you're having right now for me, it's already enough. It's kind of like just at the limit of not being ethic anymore. It's still like it's a different service that you propose. It's not like a restaurant service, but yeah. All right, guys. So what I'd like to do is that we'll do this all the time, like not all the time, but like as much as we can. And obviously, you're not just going to watch me doing this. But if I can do it multiple times to show you guys, I like to pick one of you all the time and kind of practice. So you guys can go out and also do this on your own. How about that? First of all, how everybody is up a lot to do this on a weekly basis. Cool. Okay. Do you feel like this is actually something that will help you land a client or not at all? Okay. Onika is saying yes. Hamza is saying yes. I don't know about Matthew. I don't know about Joshua. I don't know about Shay. And I don't know about.
It's a yes from me.
Okay. It's a yes, Matthew.
Yep.
It's a yes,
from Jason.
It's a yes, Jason. Okay, great. All right, guys. Joshua.
Hey, yeah. All right. So the only thing to me, I mean, I might be a little bit ahead on this, because I've been in the field a little bit. The thing is it's just the foundation of approach. You know what I mean? So it's not really formal, but you said a lot of good principles about it, right? Because you don't want to be salesy because you're not trying to sell something. You're trying to give value. So really, it's about opening lines of communication. And there's something else you said on your Facebook that caught me, because I kind of felt like you were talking to me, but it was all good because you were saying don't be posting pictures of your food. You know what I mean? And it's like you got to develop a kind of ambiance where you can relate to somebody, and in that relation, it's like, hey, here I am. This is what I can do. Do you find value in that? because I could really take a lot of stuff off of your hands, and that's kind of where the flow comes in. It's, because so when you start doing this, you start feeling like you're trying to pitch yourself, you're trying to sell yourself. But really what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a rapport with somebody so that when they see what you do, they find value in what you do. There's really not a lot of selling going on. Does that make sense?
It make 100% sense, dude. It's kind of like, it's kind of, if my content was all about how to land a full-time client, like I don't do this. Because otherwise you just be like, this guy always want to fucking sell all the shit out of me. And this is not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is to connect with you. And if you want to buy, you buy. So posting just food pics is kind of the same thing. All right. So by the way, guys, every time that I ask you a question, if this is helpful, this is not helpful, it's because I need you guys to give me honest feedback. Because if I'm doing something, if I'm literally taking time with you guys to do something that isn't actually moving the needle, it's like, we better not do it, okay? Just so you know, before every freaking coaching call, I'm like, am I going to perform? I'm stressed out. Like Hamza on the call that said, I'm stressed and tired. I'm like, I'm stressed before the call because I want to make sure that I actually produce for you guys. So, Joshua, are you actually available right now?
As far as we're having a conversation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I want to use your case because the other day we spoke and you mentioned to me that you made an offer to somebody that refused it for a full-time something.
Correct.
Okay. So walk me through a little bit of walk me through the entire funnel. Like, where did you find that person? How did you pitch them? What did you pitch them? And why did they refuse?
Okay, so one of my friends referred me to a group that I was in with them on Facebook, and they were out looking for a chef. And when I talked to them a little bit, they were actually an assistant looking for a chef for somebody else. I sent them the pictures, the files, the menu samples, yada yada, and it was very attractive. I do pretty good work. So they said, okay, let me talk to my boss. Now they have
the boss was the client.
No, her boss. She said, let me talk to my boss. So she was an assistant for the person I was looking for the chef.
So she was the assistant for the client that you were supposed to cook for?
Yes.
She was the assistant for an agency that were in charge of that client?
No, she was an assistant directly for the clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. She tell you
so this
my boss. Yep.
Yeah, so this guy he does he works in the market, stuff like that. So she got back with him. She called me and we talked, and I told her, based on it being 2 adults, him and his wife, and 3 children, for lunch and dinner for 3 days a week, that'll run you about $600 a day. She said, okay, let me talk to him. Go to talk to him.
Can you say again?
Yep.
$600 a day? $600 a day?
Yeah, for both meals. Yeah, both meals for 5 people is $600 a day. It's roughly I do 275 at a minimum of 4, plus the cost of grocery. So they got back with me, and he was like, I got on the phone with him a little bit, and we were talking. He's like, well, I've got one of my partners has a chef, and they pay him $100,000 a year, and he's there, this and that. I said, listen, that's great, but this is kind of what it is, based on what you're telling me. I don't know how many times a week you're gonna guarantee me to come over there, yada yada. He started telling me he's gonna guarantee me 3 days a week. I said, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you a lower offer on the basis that you're gonna guarantee me 3 days a week. Now, for me, I got a lot of stuff going on, so I'm willing to move it a little bit because my time is actually more valuable than my money. So I sent him an offer, and I sent him a super attractive offer. It was $400 a day. So $200 off, right? The any kind of issues of trucks he'd be having initially, I told him we would set up a secondary account where you can monitor whatever you're putting in for groceries, just to make sure that there's full transparency and clarity. But this is the minimum. This is the lowest I can go is $400 a day. I waited a little while. They never signed the contract that I sent over. I got back with them 2 more times. Both times I got back with the assistant, he's like, oh, yeah, no, he was super interested. He was out of town last weekend. And then this week it was, he had norovirus. I said, well, I hope he gets better. However, if we don't sign this contract by the end of this week, I'm going to have to pull it off the table because that $400 won't be available anymore. And they never got back to me. So.
Okay, cool. All right. Do you have an idea of why you didn't get the deal?
Well, so in Florida, and maybe in general, right? But there's this kind of connotation where I want a lot of stuff, but I don't want to pay for it. I think it's probably everywhere. But also, he already had the pretenses of taking somebody else's chef that's being employed full time at whatever rate they are and trying to transpose that and break it down to where it benefits him. And then he tries to impose that on me as if I'm supposed to kneel for his rates exclusively, which doesn't work for me. So
how much the guy was paying the chef yearly?
$100,000 a year.
Okay,
full
so
time.
that was actually more than what you proposed at the end of $400 a day, right?
Correct.
It's $400 a day. That's $1,200 a week. So that's what, like $5,000 a month.
Less than 60. Yeah, it's less than 60 a year.
Okay. So obviously, it was not about this guy that he wanted to hire, because if the guy was really after price, he wouldn't hire that guy. He would hire you, right?
Correct.
Okay. So if it was not about, okay, cool. You mentioned that this guy was a finance type of finance guy, market guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like, again, because there was no discovery, but then I'll give some notes after that, but like, do you feel like this guy actually had the money to afford you?
I don't really have a lot of intel on that. So one of the reasons that it attracted me was his location, because I have a magazine marketing thing going on in that area, and there's 700 homes in that area that have such a broad range of costs. So there's lower end and there's much higher end, and I know my target's on the higher end, but there's no way for me to tell because I never got a direct address. There's nothing that I can pick off of to try to figure out if that was the problem.
So, and that's kind of like the problem with the situation, is that we know so little about this person, but we still made an offer because it is so current, it is so common in the industry, and this is something that we need guys to change, okay? And it can only change if you guys are willing to do it. We're still selling something. And if we're still selling something, there is no way that we can make a proposition to someone if we don't know who they are. Because if we don't know who they are, how can we actually show that we can provide them what they need? We can't. So I'm saying it's so common in this industry because I'll say one, it's because chefs just don't know how to sell because they never learned how to sell. Two, because, and I don't want you guys to stay too much on this because then it will kind of like put the blame, the responsibility back on the people, and we need to take ownership. But I feel like maybe there is kind of like this slave mentality of like chefs to still, even if, you know, we're a proper chef, we get paid because of that, we're still the cook, right? We're still there just to fucking feed the guy and the kids and get the fuck out of the house. So it's kind of like, that's how we do it. You just shut the fuck up and you talk to my assistant. But the truth, the truth is, going through that process didn't get you the deal. So why not going through your process where you impose with respect and with kindness and with being genuine, a discovery session, so we can actually get to know people more before we actually make an offer. How does people that become successful somehow, more than likely with sales related, because they all run businesses, so they know sales, how they wouldn't actually like that out of 10 or 15 people that they actually interview, only one tell them, guys, I don't know yet if I can actually help. Would you mind if we actually take 10 minutes so I can ask you a couple questions to see if what I do actually can better serve you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, because then now it's such a gray area. I can tell, oh, dude, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, but like we have so little about the whole thing. That it's kind of like, yeah, the reason is we have so little, so we never will know why this guy said no. So the first thing that I will do is to actually install a discovery session so we can get to know about people. And before actually making a proposition, getting really strong buy-in that they want what we have to propose. Before even proposing them, and that's the whole point of doing the discovery, that they're ready to buy before they even saw the offer. Or at least that they're willing to go and see what the offer is about because they actually like the conversation. Now for the offer, you mentioned that you made a really great offer when you came back to them at $400. And this is something I want to think on because then this we know a lot of it. When you mentioned to me at first, it was like, okay, it was $600 a day. Okay. And what? That to me sounds salesy. 3 days a week, 5 people to feed. What they get in exchange, it's $500, it's $600 a day. This is really transactional. No, it's not $600 a day. It's like we solving this problem, that problem, that problem. It takes you less time for this and that reason. And we cover this and we cover that. And you don't have to take care of this. And on top of this, for the first week, you don't have to pay. I am working for free, even if you like it. And by the way, if you didn't like it, the first week of grocery is on me. Versus this is $600 a day. And now I see you like, dude, like, I mean, am I really going to cook for free for the first week? Like,
I've had some issues with that. That's why I've already had some issues with that.
okay, and dude, I get what you're saying, and I know where you're coming from. Like, if you already had an issue like this, and then you lost time, money, and energy, it sucks.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you could do it again and not have the same issue and actually land a good contract?
I mean, yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to the proper target marketing. You know, I've gotten a lot more out of actual organic leads, like literally walking the street in the right location and getting, you know, things on doors and stuff like that. I get a lot more response organically like that than I do from like social media and stuff, which is where I got that from, because they're able to use a proxy. So like, you know what I mean? Like they're able to really not commit to anything and not feel accountable to anything when they're online, as opposed to when someone has a physical piece of whatever paper in front of them and they say, oh, this can fill a need for me. And they call me, they're already driven to make the purchase. So then the rest is just, you know, getting to know the person and stuff like that, which is a good point, like you said, about having a discovery session. That makes a lot of sense to me.
And I agree with you with like the Facebook thing or the social thing. Now, I still want to be really clear with something, guys. Most of the time, volume solves all problems. Okay, there are companies that made tens of millions of dollars with just doing cold outreach, no ads, no organic, pure fucking cold outreach, buying fucking emails and phone numbers on LinkedIn, and it's still working in 2025. But they don't neglect volume. Okay, so we should never be like, okay, this doesn't work because we had one bad experience. It's like, what will happen if we multiply this by 10? And I know it sucks because it's 10 times more work. But I mean, that's what we're here for. If we don't fucking do
Nature of the beast.
There we go. All right. I want to take time tomorrow to give you guys a resource that you can actually go with. I didn't create it today, which is the offer. What I just broke it down for you right now in like 160 seconds. Instead of this is how much you're going to pay in exchange for my private chef services, it's more like this is the problem I'm solving, this and this and that. This is the thing that you guys won't do. This is what I'm going to do because you guys are going to start hiring me. You won't have to think about this and this and that. And by the way, the first one gets for free, and I'm adding this to that, and blah blah blah. So it sounds much more like they will lose money if they don't say yes. That's kind of how they should feel in the first place. I don't know if that's relevant, but I'm going to shut out with you guys, and then we can go over some questions, and then I think we can be okay for the day. But one client I landed full time. This is something I mentioned maybe not at least once in the last 3 live calls, but most of the time, those full-time clients, they don't even know yet that they need a full-time private chef or that they want a full-time private chef, and it's because of who you are. Like they like, dude, like I want this person in my house. I just don't want them to leave. So this is how it happened. I worked for a week for that family. It was only for the 2 daughters and the grandpa. The husband and the wife were not there yet. They were both in Hong Kong. Okay. So the grandpa and the daughters, they were in Switzerland. I'm cold. I'm going there. I performed for a week, and that's it. The last day. Okay. I was trying to remember why this is relevant based on what we're talking about. The last day, I finished my service and I'm about to leave. I've cleaned up everything. I'm about to leave. And in my head, I'm like, dude, like the grandpa didn't tip me. I made fucking $3,000 that week, but I was still like, fuck, I didn't get a tip. And I was a little bit pissed. And the old man started talking to me in the stairs. And like he's talking to me. And we there it's been like 10 minutes. I'm like, dude, like it's 9 p.m., 10 p.m. I want to go. But in my head, I'm like, I'm going to stay. And I'm going to detach. And I didn't know shit about like energy and separating myself from the cell. But I'm just like, shut the fuck up, be there, hold that conversation with that man, listen to him. The job that you're doing, you haven't done yet, and keep going, performing, and making this guy having a great experience. He's talking to me, telling me, I don't even remember what he said. But all of that to say that the next day, her daughter, sent me a text. And we're like, Julian, my dad just told me that he had an amazing week with you and will love to have you next week when my husband and I land in Switzerland to have you for a few days. And a few days turn into a few weeks, and a few weeks turn into a yearly contract. So all of that to say that maybe that day, if I was maybe a little bit pissed and I maybe rushed that last 10 minutes, I would have never landed the role. Because maybe the old man would have been pissed and would have felt like I was after the money, I was after my time, and I just wanted to go, get my check, and never come back again. Now you can be like, yes, but like you don't know. Yes, we never know. But we better to play it this way and make sure that make people feel like it is worth more to them than to us. Because in the long run, we'll get it back. Because everything we put in, we get out. It always worked, at least for me. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's the note that I want to end on. Any questions? Any last note that you guys want to go over? Hamza, go ahead.
You know how yesterday we talked about AI and how useful it is for like chefs cooking? It just got me thinking, since you said like, you know how us, so people who work in the kitchen industry, they're not really good at sales. So do you think if we get like, let's say for example, a ChatGPT, we feed it all the information that we, or the information that we have on a certain customer or potential client, and it would tailor a good sales pitch that is like tailored for that specific client?
Yeah, this is actually what you want to do. So you want to separate having a conversation with people and a sales pitch. But technically, yes, you want to actually give to ChatGPT all the information that you collected from that session for ChatGPT to pitch something specifically. But again, you don't want to just be, hey, ChatGPT, this is the information. Give me the best pitch that you get. It's going to be too low level resource. But add up to a few prompts that I know that I can give you. Yes, this is going to be amazing. What I'm going to give you tomorrow, guys, it's going to be made by ChatGPT.
Lovely.
So yeah, great insight. Anybody else? Any questions? Matthew, go ahead.
I was listening a lot to Joshua. Joshua, thanks for filling us in on that whole situation. One thing I kept thinking during it was things seem to get stuck when you're talking about money and finances with a guy that works in finance. It's almost like there was a loss of proper language with the negotiation there. People never buy things strictly because of price. People buy products because of how it will potentially make them feel. If you look at MTV Cribs, who's that famous DJ guy, DJ Khalid? One of the first things he ever does in a lot of his, the MTV walkthroughs of his house, he always tells people, this is my private chef. He always introduces private chef. It's a major flex for people. Like telling people that you've got a private chef must be a big flex for a lot of these wealthy folk. And so I think we need to, for myself, I would constantly try and stimulate that part of the clientele's ego, that they could potentially have this feeling. This is a service that they're going to have, and it's like purchasing a car. The finances are always way on the back end. It's rarely brought up with any sort of product. Finances right at the front end of things. I think we should really concentrate on our services, probably the most. That's all I was kind of getting out of that.
We want to 100%. Now we want to know how much money this guy is making, or at least what is his position, what does he do? Because working in finance in the market is like so broad. So there's so many people that work in finance that make 100 grand a year. So I assume that this guy was not making 100 grand a year. But what if you make like 3 or 4? Like paying somebody 100 it's maybe already too much, right? If you're making 300, 300 is before taxes. I mean, assuming that people are speaking of before taxes. But I get what you're saying, and yes, it should never be about, okay, what I do is $600 is what I do is you get this, you get this, you get that, and I solve this and this and this and that. And by the way, if you don't like it, there is a guarantee, and on top of this guarantee, there is another guarantee, and yeah. But again, it's kind of like, guys, nobody is doing this in the industry right now. So literally, like nobody in the private chef industry. It's fucking crazy.
You got a bloody good point though. Going back to Joshua. Yeah, if that finance guy is only earning like $400 or $500 grand, paying a private chef $100,000 is lot. Huh. You're right. We're dealing with a clientele that really needs to be making bank
Yeah.
for our services.
Yeah, 100%. And there are enough of those people to not have to deal with somebody who's making $500,000 or less. So yeah. Any other questions?
Well, all right, I got a question. So how do I how do I sequester that information? Oh yeah, that's cool. By the way, how much money do you make? That's not really, you know what I mean?
I mean, we can role play this, but you can figure it out without being like, how much money do you make? You know, you wanna role play it?
Uh, okay.
Okay, cool. All right, good. All right, Joshua. So, well, let's say that you this guy, right? What is the biggest reason why you want to hire a full-time private chef right now?
Well, honestly, I am back and forth a lot with work. I travel a bit, and my wife is taking care of the kids, and it seems to be a big burden for her to take care of all the kids, especially when I'm not around. And when I am around, I'm busy with work. So I would like to just give that to somebody so that I don't have to worry about it.
Okay, so what you're telling me right now is that it sounds like you being really busy traveling with work, and the person right now in charge of actually cooking is your wife for the kids and for the whole family, right?
Yes. And she's not even cooking that much.
Okay.
It's
How many kids do you guys have?
3.
3 kids. Okay, gotcha. When's the 4th one coming?
Hopefully never.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. And I mean, why not just your wife keep cooking for the family though?
Because she is giving me hell for it. So if she keeps cooking, I keep getting beat up. So I just want her to be happy so that I can be happy.
Okay, gotcha. So it's like your own making your wife, creating peace for your wife is creating peace to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
That's part of marriage.
how much as your peace worth?
Well, I guess that's a good question. That's why I was hoping to kind of mitigate that a little bit with maybe having you come in 3 or 4 days a week so that it won't absolutely break the bank, but it's worth a healthy portion.
Okay, gotcha. So when you say like it wouldn't break the bank, what do you mean by that more specifically?
Well, currently I make good money, but I'm not the richest person in the world. I don't have a yacht. So
Would you
I need to
like
have,
another yacht?
I would love another yacht.
Okay, gotcha. No, go ahead. My bad.
So I need to kind of find a balance in that a little bit, so where I'm not paying somebody, I don't know, $200,000 a year to come to my house and cook for me for every meal. So what I've thought about is maybe just having someone come in for lunch and dinner. Breakfast we can take care of. That's usually pretty quick. Lunch really helps me out a lot when I am home, and dinner is definitely something that I need to be taken care of, given that all the kids are home and my wife is home and she's coming back from doing chicken yoga. So it's a little bit of a thing.
Oh, okay, I get that. So as you mentioned, it's like you're making good money, but you're not yet the richest man in the world, so you don't own a yacht. So it's not like trying to find somebody who's making 200 that you'll be paying 200 grand a year, but somebody that can at least a few days a week take out lunch and dinner so it can gives back peace to your wife and to yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay, gotcha. What do you do for a living, by the way?
I am a marketer, I work in the market for Merrill Lynch.
Okay. Is it like you're running your own business? If you're working for a film, like?
No, I'm a senior analyst for Merrill Lynch.
Senior analyst. Okay, gotcha. So again, when you say like you don't want to break the bank, I mean like last year, how much did you clear in total, approximately?
It's pretty good. You kind of cornered it. That was. So you still asked, but you found a way to corner it to where there was no other question that was left on the table.
Well, so technically what you mentioned was like, oh, I'm not going to ask how much they make like right away, right? And this is not what it did, correct? It took me 4 minutes to get there. Without, in my opinion, sounding really, it makes sense. Again, even the question, I'm not like, okay, and by the way, how much do you make? I'm like, you mentioned that you didn't want to break the bank, right? So as of right now, last year, how much did you, okay, so there's a little bit of substance. And also, guys, so I'm telling you also, I mean, I've asked that question like 700 times last year. approximately because I had like 700 calls. So there is also the energy that comes from being maybe a little bit more comfortable with asking money question, question that can actually create sales resistance. But that's pretty much it. Okay. I could have not asked you that question, and I still know that you won't hire somebody that you will pay 200,000. But I could ask you how much you will be willing to pay, or how much would that make sense for you, without really asking you how much you make, and we still get the answer we want. And then at the end, we still don't pitch a $600 a day thing, but this is what I do, this is what you don't do, this is the piece that I create for you. There is a guarantee, blah, 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 blah. And by the way, this is $600 a day.
Yeah, and that's actually somebody who is gonna put up resistance because I know what's going on. So somebody who doesn't know what's going on and genuinely is looking for the service would be a little more disarmed in the nature of the conversation. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yes, 100%. So, and again, guys, it's like, if people are resistant and they don't want to have this conversation with you, guess what? They probably don't want to pay you anyway. So they won't be a client. So it's okay. So we better know this right now in the first 5 minutes than having an hour conversation, a second conversation, a third conversation, and wasting time for everyone. And for those who feel resistant but that still need the service because it happens, and this is the reason why becoming better at sales will get you more deals across the line. Well, then you're practicing to ask better questions, to be more present during the call, to make people. I don't know if you saw, but like I made one joke. I made 2 jokes for the kids. You have 3 kids. When's the 4th one coming? And then you said you don't have a yacht. I asked you if you wanted a yacht. But I don't remember. I made a single joke. Okay, so it's a small detail, but we just want to make sure again, like people don't feel like we're having a sales conversation.
Yeah.
Again, was that a little helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Cool. All right, guys. Any other questions? It's 3:20. I want to go to the gym. All right. Awesome. I see you all tomorrow. By the way, before everybody goes, like usually, if you guys can leave a win in the chat, I'm sure you guys got amazing wins today in this session. So if you can post win, you guys fucking legends. I'm going to post my YouTube channel so you guys can follow. I'm posting some long form content right there. It's a new one, so I'm bringing back the old content from the old channel to the new one. 4 p.m. like this, is it a good time? If it's not a good time, can you guys say something in the chat like no? And maybe propose another time that should work better for you guys. I'm thinking that either like 11 EST, 4 EST, or 8 EST, because there's like 3 slots, morning, midday, morning, afternoon, night. You guys tell me.
I know for me, Monday through Friday, I work 11 to approximately 7 EST.
Okay, so 8 will be good for you, Jason.
Yeah, 8 would allow me to engage fully.
Okay. I know that Hamza is actually working at night, so 11 is actually really good for him.
Yes.
Or 4 p.m. What about you, Matthew? You're muted. You're muted. Okay, perfect for Shellin. Okay, so
8 o'clock's good.
Okay, so we got Jason, we got Matthew, we got Shay for 8. What about you, Joshua?
My schedule is kind of funky. I adapt. I got
Joshua,
stuff all over the place.
Okay,
Yeah.
What about you, Onyeka?
8 o'clock is good for me too.
8 o'clock is good for you too. Okay, cool. Okay, good. All right. So Hamza, just so you know, we'll keep some coaching anyway during the day. As of right now, there's still I don't have anyone in mind that is in the UK yet, but they're going to come. But yeah. Okay.
I don't mind the 8 o'clock on Sunday, though.
Couldn't hear what you said.
Sunday is usually off, so on Sundays I can do anything.
Sundays
Just not during the week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's another. That's also another. How to say something to put. How to say? Fuck this. Sometimes I'm losing my word. Yeah, a way to motivate you to fucking quit your job and get into private really quick so you can actually attend the course. But anyway, guys, really appreciate you showing up and
Can't wait for
some work to do and to produce. please share some wins, okay? If you don't, I'll hit you up on the DMs, and I see you all tomorrow, 4 p.m. Okay, and from there I'll start changing your schedule a little bit.
Thank you very much, Julia.
You guys
Thank
like.
you. Y'all have a
Thank
good day.
you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for all the infos.
All right.
If this training helped you to see what's possible as a private chef and you're ready to land private chef clients without having to rely on Instagram or agencies, then here's what I want you to do next. Join our free Facebook community. You'll get access to more trainings like this, live coaching calls, client getting scripts, and a community of ambitious chefs that are already building a 6-figure private chef business. The link is in the description. Click it now, join us, and remember to subscribe to this channel to see more of this type of content. Let's cook.